Welcome to Make It Last with Say Jaf and Kas. I'm your host, Harry Cassell.
Jafari Roberts.
Say Off Walani.
We're only with you for about 10 to 15 minutes, so let's make that time last. This is going to be an all-NBA episode. We're going to be breaking down the NBA, all-NBA first, second, and third team. But first, we had a poll.
We had a poll.
Sayoff is going to be eating a ghost pepper during an interview. And the interview that you guys chose online on the poll was...
Was it the comedian? I think it was a comedian.
It was the comedian.
Go! Awesome!
Michael Drake is going to be on with us next week, and Sayoff will be eating a ghost pepper. I have already ordered it on orderghostpepper.com.
Shout out to you guys.
I don't know if Harry's lying or not, because he hasn't told me yet.
No, you're eating the ghost pepper.
No, not that. Did you order it?
Yes.
Oh, really? You didn't tell me you ordered it.
This legitimately happened.
Awesome. I'll take it. I'll do it.
All right, so for the NBA All-First team, we're not even going to talk about it because it doesn't make sense. It's clearly Westbrook, Harden, LeBron, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis if he qualifies at center. If not, he's a forward. He'll be pushed to the next team. We're going to talk about that later. But
if you disagree with that, honestly, then just don't. I don't need your vote. We don't need your...
If you're an NBA media member and you get a vote and you don't vote for those 5 people, give us your vote.
Give us your jobs.
You clearly didn't think about it as often as we did.
Give me your TV, honestly. Because you don't need it. You're not watching, obviously. Let me have it.
For those of you watching, Jaff got robbed this week.
Yes, he did.
Someone stole his television. If you are listening and you stole Jaff's television... Why would you listen to his podcast? Why would that's so weird?
Also, please give it back. I like it.
Also, please give it back. I like it. Is the name of my fantasy team.
All right, let's move on.
I had Ray Rice on it.
Let's move on. Move on to NBA.
I don't. He's on defense.
Let's move on to NBA second teams. This is where we actually have some disagreement, as most people will. For me, I go with Steph Curry, not too hard, DeMar DeRozan, Giannis, Kevin Durant, and my boy Rudy Gobert. Shout out to you, Rudy.
I also have Rudy Gobert, but I have Curry, Isaiah Thomas, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you got to put in Draymond Green because you got to award defense. There's 2 sides of a basketball.
And then I have Curry, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Durant, and Whiteside.
You see, okay, this is where I have
that was 4 people.
This was scripted. I didn't forget Draymond Green.
4th wall, command.
This is where I have a bit of a gripe with the whole NBA all-team thing. I realize that this isn't... I realize this isn't like an all-star game kind of thing. These players don't actually hit the court and play each other. But putting 2 guards like Curry and Isaiah Thomas together just makes me want to cringe.
Yeah, well, of course.
That sounds like...
That's the whole point.
If you went to me at the beginning, or if you went to me right now and you said, Harry, what are the 4 best guards in the NBA? Westbrook, Harden, Curry, Thomas. Those are the 4 that
I was agree with this, but at the same time where you say you put Draymond Green in because you reward defense, that team is getting scored 150 on every game.
See, but that's why I had Whiteside, because I have Whiteside and Draymond.
First of all, Stephen A. Smith, calm down. I do not need you yelling in my ear about how bad Draymond Green is. It's fine.
Draymond Green's amazing. I'm not saying that.
But they're, a lot of people are going to leave out Giannis, and you saw Sayoff left out Giannis off of his ballot. Mm-hmm. Giannis is first on his team in all 5 statistical categories. Only 5 people have ever done that. And furthermore, he's top 20 in those 5 categories for the whole league. And no one's done that ever. In points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, top 20 in all of them. Jordan didn't do it. Incredible. LeBron didn't do it. Giannis did it. Giannis is the future. I have him as an MVP candidate within 5 years. And I just see big things for them. When Chris Middleton...
Maybe he's a Brandon Jennings. Scores like 50 points in a game. People think he's a Jordan, then he just falls off.
Yeah, but
that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening.
The Bucks are a playoff team.
So they're a playoff team in the East that very well could drop down.
I think it's
and the East is strong this year.
The East is good this year.
The East is all right this year.
The East is strong. And also, the Bucks...
The East is not strong this year. Come on.
The East is very strong. They're not very strong.
I think that... I don't want to say the East is strong because clearly the West is better, but I think that this is the first year in the last 6 years that the East
has been
good enough to challenge LeBron. I think LeBron specifically, because I think he's had what I've called a free path every year.
And a lot of people say this.
He goes against like Detroit last year in the first round, and he could have done it with his eyes closed.
Right.
And now he might have to play either a Heat team or a Pacers team that are very good.
They're not stepovers.
Yes.
They're definitely not stepovers. This is the first year in a while, and so that's even more to Giannis's credit. It's not a Brennan Jennings situation. Don't bring that up. It's not even close.
I only brought it up because they did before.
All right, so do you move on to third teams?
We can move on to third team.
All right, let's get it.
Mine is John Wall, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, and Karl Anthony Towns. I left out a forward spot, not because I'm Say Jaf and I talk about when things aren't scripted.
Listen, but mine was scripted. Give me a break.
The reason I left someone out is because there's three players that I think are very important that could take this position. It's Jimmy Butler, Gordon Hayward, and Paul George. And all of them have further implications because if you make one of these three lists, you can make upwards of $70 million because you can get a 6-year contract as opposed to a 5-year max. So I think it comes out to $130 or $200 million. And if I look at all of them objectively, it's hard not to go with Gordon Hayward.
He deserved it this year.
He did.
He came off an injury in the beginning of the season.
What I want to say, and the reason I think this is all arbitrary, is because if I'm a media member that likes the Pacers, I'm going to put Paul George on that list because now we can pay him $70 million more, and he's inclined to stay there. And I just don't think that's fair. I think that they should change the voting to, I don't know if they should do half players, half media.
It's rigged.
They can give it to us.
The way that there shouldn't be, if you look at talent, there shouldn't be such a discrepancy where last year, I think Draymond Green could have won Defensive Player of the Year if one person voted different.
Right.
Yeah.
If one person voted different, it could have been a whole different thing, and I just feel like it's arbitrary.
I have to agree with that. My third team goes as such. I have Isaiah Thomas, John Wall.
The man that talks about 2 point guards being on the same NBA team,
and
like puts 2 point guards on the same.
John Wall can play defense though. Curry and Isaiah Thomas are walkovers. Anyway, I have Isaiah Thomas, John Wall, Gordon Hayward, shout out to you, Paul George, and Hassan Whiteside over Karl Anthony Towns by a millimeter. That was a hard pick for me, but I have to go Whiteside.
Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 65%.
I understand.
On over 20 points. He had a game this week where he had like 40 and 20.
I only pick Whiteside just because...
In a loss! The
exactly.
Devin Booker Award goes to...
I gave it to Whiteside solely because of that amazing run they had from going from almost Brooklyn Nets team to a playoff contending team who might actually grab this 8 seed.
I feel like as a Heat fan, I'd like to not vote for players like what, because I'm looking at myself and I'm like trying to be as objective as I can, and the only way I know how to do it is by hating the Heat.
The whole
I'm like I have to hate everything I love to give the people what they want.
To be fairly and unbiased.
I gave it to Whiteside in the second team because he's been consistent for the past couple years after not doing anything.
But it's not about a couple years. It's about this year.
No, but hear me out. He was consistent last year. Didn't get as much recognition as he should have. This year, he has been consistent. He has done the whole best record in the second half of the season with his team. He's been on a tear the whole entire time. For my third team, I had Wall, Dame Dollar, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Rudy Gobert. And
Dame Dollar.
besides Wall, Giannis, and Gobert, the other two vary, but I feel like just both of them deserve it.
Yeah, well, that all depends. I mean,
the whole thing
it really all depends.
It really depends on if Anthony Davis is center. Because what we said originally is if Anthony Davis becomes a forward, he goes on to that second team,
which means,
and then I'm sure Rudy Gobert or someone else will go up. But that would mean that Butler, Hayward, and Paul George all can't make that spot unless there are people out there that think that Kevin Durant, because he missed a quarter of the season and et cetera, Tom Brady, but Tom Brady gets the MVP. Spoiler alert.
Do we move on to that? Let's talk about that for a second.
What, the KD?
Let's talk about this KD thing.
Yo, he averaged 27 points a game shooting under 18 shots.
Incredible.
That's ridiculous.
His field goal percentage, I was almost on the dot when I did this. I said 56.3. It's actually 56.5%.
I Googled this. This is the first time since the 40s to happen.
And he's not a center.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is the first time since we've started the podcast that you've done research.
No, I just read the rundown, and then if Harry's wrong, he's wrong, not me.
Exactly.
Am I wrong?
Sometimes.
You're wrong all the time.
Sometimes.
But anyway, 56.5%, and he's not a center, he plays the forward, but he's not backing down people and taking layups. He's not taking dunks. He's
not
making
posting.
fadeaways,
He's not in
and
the post,
his three-point percentage was like 40-something%. The dude was going off on a tear on a team that's already probably one of the best teams ever.
And
he went and was easily the best player.
And those
Cannot
20 some games he missed, let's be
Were
honest,
resting
they would have rested him for like 10 of them. You can't take those 20 games into account just because it was at the end of the season where everyone is pulling a pop and everyone's resting their star players.
Do you know who's not resting their players this year? Pop.
For once.
He's resting Tony Parker, and that's it.
That's very... But he has a younger team. He has a younger team.
But it's so like Pop that like while everyone in the league is like getting crap for it, he's like, well, I don't even do it anymore.
Pop is the biggest hipster ever. I swear. Pop shops at like
he shops at Urban Outfitters, but he like tells people he doesn't shop at Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, it's so you know, right?
All right, starting off our what do we call these?
Lasties?
The Lasties.
The Lasties.
I like it. Our awards for the NBA players. We're not going to go MVP and stuff like that because you guys know the MVP. It's going to be Russell Westbrook, so it's not important. I'm going to start with the most slept-on player, and if you've listened to the podcast at all, you know my favorite, clearly Miles Turner. Miles Turner, center on Indiana. I think next year he has a strong possibility of making an all-star team. And he just looks so good. And he really anchors that Indiana defense that seemed to look like lost without Roy Hibbert, which I think is ridiculous.
I was gonna say he reminds me of Roy Hibbert before he went to the Lakers and like.
Okay, so Harry, next year this and that, whatever. Next year, can he buy a beer?
Next year
he can buy a beer. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Then we'll see what happens.
Wouldn't that be terrible if you turned 21 and just started drinking? And just Larry Sanders it, just like falls off and then joins the Cavs 3 years later.
My most slept on player was Goran Dragic, Heat point guard. Not because I'm a Heat fan, but because
you're a Heat fan.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am a Heat fan, but because throughout the whole run, him and Dion Waiters, Dion was talked about, Goran not so much, but throughout that whole run in the second half of the NBA season. Goran, Whiteside, and Dion just killed it together. Goran was, I think, the most efficient since the last time he made an NBA third team.
He did. He made NBA All Third Team on the Suns.
Yeah. So ever since this is one of the first times in a while that you've seen him be that efficient and do that well.
All right, so for mine, they wanted me to pick someone like Avery Bradley, who, in all respect, is a great player.
I wanted you to pick Avery Bradley.
We had that written down.
But
it was written down.
I had on my list, I had Miles Turner / Avery Bradley, and he came with no name. So I was like, oh, just talk about Avery Bradley. He's one of my favorite players. And what did Jafari say?
But you know what? Devin Booker. I don't care.
The man who scored 70 points.
I don't care.
He's not slept on.
Because if I said it 2 weeks ago, it would have counted.
Yes, and if I said LeBron was dope 15 years ago, people would be like, oh, he's the Messiah. He knows everything.
I've been talking about Devin Booker for a minute now.
You gotta do it on the podcast.
That's not fair, bro. Like, I don't care if he dropped 70 the other day. This man has been doing what he did that game in a loss. He's been doing that in losses probably the whole season. This man is so good.
He's been scoring 70 all season. No one's noticed.
And no one's talked about it at all.
He's been.
We're going to the next.
Devin Booker is my player who's been the most slept on till that game.
This next one is the worst situation award, nicknamed most likely to pull their hair out, which you have to give to Jeff Hornacek, the coach of the New York Knicks, also coached Dragic that one year that he made third-team All-NBA. Jeff Hornacek has to deal with Carmelo Anthony. He has to deal with old Knicks players getting kicked out of buildings. He has to deal with an owner that doesn't know how to be an owner unless it's baseball.
He has to deal with Derrick Rose's knees.
Man, like, why? It's not fair because Jeff Hornacek is such an amazing coach. And the one time Phil just lets him grab the reins, crazy winning streak, the Knicks look good. All of a sudden, Phil says, run the triangle again, and we tank. Jeff, I'm very sorry.
And so you've heard Jeff's and Harry's. Mine is whoever is running the Kings. Because the Kings suck.
Divac.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's all I have to say. That's nothing more.
All right, this next one, you're the worst, is the It's Been Real award. This is most likely to not be spoken about next year. And for me, it's pretty obvious. It's LeVar Ball. You went on record and said that you can't win a game with white people. I can't wait for Leaf to be a more productive player than your bust of a second overall pick. Garbage. Garbage. Come on the podcast so you can yell at us.
Oscar Robinson is not going to be talked about next year.
Confirmed.
Definitely not be talked about ever again.
No one is going to talk
Shout out
about the
Russell
guy
Westbrook.
who
The goat.
Russell Westbrook
Shout out
beat his
Russell
triple
Westbrook.
double
You
record.
did it, bro.
You did it. You beat him.
I'm proud of you. Mine, Vlade Divac, wasn't really talked about much before this, but now Boogie's officially gone.
Wait, was Vladdy
I thought
Divac-
you were going to pick Devin Booker.
Wait, was Vladdy Divac even talked about?
Quite a little bit, but now that Boogie's gone, it's pretty much over. Sorry, Vlade, you're done.
And the following, the worst fit for his team award, also most likely to be on the Celtics next year. And if you haven't gotten the hint, we'll just call this a Blake Griffin award because he's getting it.
Good job, Blake. Proud
He's
of you.
getting it.
That's
Yeah.
Round of applause for Blake Griffin. All right.
If you guys like the show, subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter at Say Jaf and Kas to keep up with the show. Follow all the polls. Follow everything going on. And don't forget who loves you.
Sorry, we don't have a poll this week.
We love all you guys besides the person who robbed me. I don't like you.
I do.